Hi, welcome to this edition of Garden Guns. First off, I'm going to apologise for any noise, people talking, seagulls screeching, words, never good with words. And if you can hear there's a big bridge with lots of traffic going over the top of it, so I'm not sure if that's going to get picked up by the video. And secondly, I'm going to apologise for how long it's taken me to get the third instalment of my chat about CO2 powered air pistols. There is a reason for that, and the reason is that I'm currently in Vancouver visiting my dad and my sister. And when I booked this trip, I suddenly realised that I was going to get the opportunity to go shooting with my sister, and was going to get to try some interesting pistols and rifles, but I made sure I got to put a Glock in the mix for that. So I can actually come at the end of this video, come back to you with effectively my opinions on the Umarex Gen 4 versus the Real Steel Gen 3 that I got to shoot. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the video. You know, if you're getting bored, just fast forward to the end, because I think it's going to be a long one. But anyway, all the best, and please enjoy. Hi. Ooh, there's my cans. Kicking everything under the table. Welcome to this edition of Garden Guns. Sorry it's been so long since I've got my last video up. I've had a few complaints about that. It wasn't a great start to the year for me, and I also haven't had a huge amount through the door that would have been of much interest. Pretty much everything I've had we've already talked about. And the rest of it was just a little bit, yeah. So yeah, I only really like making videos of things that I think you guys will find interesting. You know, stuff that I like, and I hope other people will like too. And if it's not something that really fires me up, I don't really see the point of making a video on it. But anyway, I hope to rectify that over the next few months. I've been offered a couple of guns to test by one of the subscribers, so I'm hopeful I can maybe swap my Huntsman and my R10 for a couple of days with his kit, and hopefully get some videos out on that. And I've got a few Springers, few old Springers that I've currently got that are actually mine. I've bought that I'm trying to get better at shooting, so hopefully I'll put a video together for those. But for now, what are we talking about today? Well, we're talking about a CO2 blowback 4.5mm, sorry, oh, it's cold and my nose is dribbling a little bit, 4.5mm pistol, 4.5mm BB pistol. So if you're not interested in blowback, CO2 blowback pistols, this isn't the video for you. Keep an eye out for hopefully more content that will be more relevant to your taste. But if you are interested in that sort of thing, this is, in my opinion, one of the best replica / imitation pistols out on the market. And what is this pistol that I'm talking about? Well, this is the Umarex Glock 17 Gen 4. And in terms of replicating its real steel counterparts, this is probably one of the best, if not the best, CO2 pistol out on the market, in my opinion. And when I mean, you know, replicating it, I'm not talking about the way it shoots, I'm talking about the way that it looks and feels. This is an official licensed product from Glock, so it has got all the Glock trades on it. It pretty much looks, as far as I can tell, because I haven't got much experience on the real Glock, it looks identical to the real steel counterpart. So this is a second-hand one. I've got it on test from Leicestershire Airguns. I'm just testing to make sure it holds its CO2 and it shoots BBs roughly in the right direction, because these BB pistols aren't massively accurate. But when you're buying it, what do you get? Well, you get a Glock branded box, and inside the box you obviously get your Glock branded pistol, which we'll have a bit more of a look at in a minute. You get a couple of back straps, and the back straps basically fit onto the back of the pistol grip to give you a bit more of a palm swell for those of you with a slightly larger hand. Small baggie of BBs as usual, as you do with these sort of things, an instruction manual, and you would normally get some form of tool to allow you to access the CO2 powderlet in the magazine and take the powderlet out. So normally an Allen key of some description. Unfortunately, as I said, this one's second hand, so whoever owned this previously either lost it or forgot to put it in the box. But anyway, right, let's have a quick look at the pistol. I'm not sure if the camera will pick this up, but it has got, let's have a look, it's got the Glock branding on there, right up to even the Glock in the pistol grip. The pistol grip itself it's really nicely stippled. It's got the comfortable Gen 4 finger indents. It's fully field strippable by, let's take the magazine out. To do that you have to take the magazine out to field strip it. Pull the slide catches down here. These are the two slide catches. You've got one on either side, you have to pull them both down. So pull them down, you'll notice that the rail drops forward a little bit, so pull the rail to the back, sweep it forward, and it comes off. And in there you've got your recoil spring which comes out, and you can also take the barrel and the barrel cover out as well for cleaning. So, and basically to reattach the slide, you mate it up with these rails here on the front and the back, and there we go. And then just once it's in place, just slide it, pull it all the way to the back, and that should do it, he says. There we go, and that is it reattached. So you'll notice that the magazine has got effectively as though it was in the real, try and find my words, in the real steel version it's a double stacked single feed magazine, and as you see on here it's replicating where the bullets would be, so you'd have holes, I believe, on the real magazine. Once again, it is branded with Glock at the bottom. To get in at the CO2 capsule, you take the magazine bottom off by pushing in on a little catch, little spring-loaded catch there, sliding the magazine to the front, and in there you have your Allen bolt for removal, which allows you to get at the CO2. So as I say, and this has actually got a CO2 capsule in it. I'm having a few issues here. There we go. I've been shooting this quite a bit over the last couple of days to try and get a feel for it. But anyway, here we go. So one of the major issues I've got with this particular pistol is this bolt. I've seen a few come into the shop when I was helping out Leicestershire Airguns before the first lockdown, so it feels almost like it feels a long time ago now. Kind of missed the shop a bit really. But I saw a couple of these come through where the owners had cross-threaded this bolt into the magazine. And if you do that, that's basically the magazine ruined, which then effectively makes the gun useless until you can purchase a second magazine, which is not cheap. It is a bit fiddly, but you have to be very careful to make sure that you do actually get the bolt to mate up in the screw threads right, or else, yeah, all sorts of trouble. So, fresh CO2 powderlet. When loading a powderlet, never just drop it straight in, because there's a little pin in the bottom that punctures the top of the powderlet. If you just lob it in, you've got a chance of maybe damaging that pin and once again ruining the magazine. These magazines are the weakest part in these CO2 pistols. They've got a fair few seals in them, and if you don't take care of it, basically those seals will deteriorate over time, which is why they say never leave a CO2 pellet in it for more than a couple of days at a time. If you're not going to use the pistol for a bit, take the pellet out, and maybe a little bit of silicone oil or spray on the valves also helps. But anyway, so when I'm loading these magazines up, I tend to just keep it horizontal and just slide the pellet in. And as I say, this I find a little bit fiddly. I try and get it to go with my fingers to start off with, and if that's working, I know that with ease, then I know I've got it in the right place on the threads. And then to do it up, once it's screwing up nice and easily, it's just a question of tightening it until you should, in theory, hear a little hiss of some description, which I didn't get on this. Okay, if you don't get the hiss, don't crank the magazine up, don't crank the bolt down really stupidly tightly, because if you don't get that hiss, because sometimes you don't, especially, I mean, I didn't today, I didn't hear the CO2 pellet puncture. You don't want to overly crank that pellet down. Once again, if you do, you stand the chance of damaging the seals in the top of the magazine, and you know, once again, it's all about being a little bit gentle with these things. You really kind of need to basically look after these magazines with kid gloves. So that's the CO2 pellet loaded. On this magazine, it's kind of handy. It's actually been thought out fairly well. On a lot of these CO2 guns, they don't have the ability to lock the magazine follower to one side. He's struggling here. I'm trying to do this. I'll come around on camera. So most of them, you just got to pull it down and then load the BBs in like that. But on this one, if you move it to the, well, as you're looking at it, would be the right. You've got a little catch on the magazine, and that allows you just to drop your BBs straight in there, and that holds the magazine follower down. And today I am using these. These are the SMK premium grade steel BBs. I tend to find, out of all the ones that I use, I tend to find that these are, well, they're my favourite. They seem to work in most of the pistols I've had. These things, I have to work out a better way to load these magazines, because I end up chucking BBs everywhere. As I said, I've tried the Accu BBs and the Excite low ricochet ones, mainly because, you know, mainly because I wanted to see how they went in there, and we'll talk about this later once we've done the downrange shooting portion. I chronographed this, and it's doing around about 0.9 of a foot-pound, which I think is somewhere around about 1.2 joules. And it's doing about 280 feet per second. So, you know, these things aren't massively, sorry, standing up is going to go and do something downrange. These things aren't massively powerful, these CO2 BBs. They are real plinking tools. They've got just about enough power to go through a tin can, you know, go through a bit of paper, maybe knock over a little tin soldier. You know, if you've got any of those little I've got little soldiers that basically, if you hit them with a BB, they fall over, and that's really what these pistols are for. These style of pistols are for. They're there for the enjoyment of owning a replica, and also, you know, a replica that you can actually take down the range and, you know, knock a few tin cans over with. Right, so the magazine is loaded, the CO2 is in. I've got a set of goggles as a target downrange. Give me a couple of seconds and I'll be back to do some shooting. Right, so here we go. First things first, with these BB pistols you get quite a lot of ricochets, especially if you're shooting anything hard. Obviously shooting a bit of cardboard, not so much of an issue. But you know, shooting these little steel knockdown soldiers I was talking about, or, you know, shooting anything with a backstop, a wooden backstop or a concrete backstop, these steel BBs are pretty hard things, and they have a tendency to bounce straight back at you, which makes wearing iPro an absolute essential when you are shooting one of these things. And do you know, the other thing I actually forgot to mention is, unlike the real steel version, the Umarex version of the Glock not only has the inbuilt trigger safety, which you get in the real steel one, but Umarex have also added an underbarrel safety as well, which you wouldn't get normally. The only issue with that is if you put some form of laser or a light on there, it's covered. But having said that, I don't tend to use that safety myself too much. Right, so let's tidy up there, let's do some shooting. So there we go, first round. So aiming at the middle of the target. Okay, now that first shot, I'm aiming at the middle of the target, and if you see on the video that has gone right at the very bottom. I'm going to put the target video somewhere up here, probably about there I should think. Right, so let's aim at the top of the target and see what happens. No, still not on board. Right at the very top. Okay. Right. Unfortunately, it's a full mag gun. Although the sights are nice and very true to the original Glock, they are not adjustable. So I am having to aim sort of halfway up that box, sort of probably about 2 inches above the top of the target itself, to be able to get the BBs to actually hit the target. At the end of towards the end of that magazine, I actually came off the sights, and I was actually looking at where the BBs were going, because they travel that slowly. You can actually watch them go through the air, and it's actually easier to come off the sights and actually walk the BBs straight onto the target that you're aiming at. And to be honest, with this pistol, that's probably the best way to do it. You know, these sights, as I say, are not adjustable, and yeah, I'm aiming sort of that far off the bullseye at the moment, up. You know, what's that, about 10 yards I'm aiming at, so it's, you know, it's not massively far, but yeah, a little bit up, so, you know, slightly disappointing in terms of the fact that the sights aren't spot on. Does it detract from the fun of shooting it? No, absolutely not. It's a great fun pistol to shoot. And as I say, if you come off the actual sights itself and actually watch the BBs fly and walk them on, yeah, you can get a really good level of accuracy. These things are not that accurate anyway. You know, if you can get them within that shoot and see with the sights on, yeah, that's pretty good. I've got a 1911 I'm going to review later on down the line, which is my own pistol, and that is, the sights on that are a little bit more on, but still, you know, you're talking about a grouping going all the way across a large, so what's that, there's probably a 7-inch shoot and see target in terms of width, you know, yeah, so you're grouping over 7 inches at 10 yards with these things. So that's one magazine on a target. I'm now going to go and get some cans out, and we're going to shoot some cans and then have a little wrap up to bring this video to a conclusion. Give me a few seconds. Right, let's see if I can hit any of these suckers. Once again, iPro first, because I am shooting against a tree. It might be bouncing back. See if we can get anything. So all that action. And there we go, out. So, not the most accurate of pistols, but you know, it looks amazing. It is fun to shoot. I don't know if it's just this one that the sights are slightly off on. There is a little, I presume it's based on an airsoft pistol, because there is a little sort of rubber hop. I think the airsofters call it a hop, which is, as far as I understand, it's like a rubber grommet that you can make adjustments to. Unfortunately, even though the rubber's in there, I don't think the ability to make the adjustments is in on this one. It doesn't have the wheels that you would see on, say, a 6mm airsoft pistol. But for a good fun plinker, yeah, I think it's, yeah, I think it's awesome. I think the joy in, as I say, in ownership of this one is the fact that it sort of replicates the real steel Glock 17 so well, and I think that's where the joy of ownership on this particular pistol is. As I said, this one especially isn't the most accurate in terms of the sight picture, but you know, there's works around that. Shoot with both eyes open and watch where the BBs are going is the way that I tend to find the easiest way to shoot it. Anyway, I hope this has been of interest to some people. Any questions, put them in the comments section below and I'll do my best to answer them. Until the next time, stay safe, and I look forward to making the next video for you. All the best. Right, so the Gen 3 9mm Glock 17 versus the 4.5mm CO2 powered Umarex Glock 17 Gen 4. What are my thoughts? Well, first off, I actually prefer the feel of the Gen 4, the Umarex Gen 4. The grip on the Gen 3 that we used was not very nice. I found it, yeah, just quite plasticky. A lot more like the dual fuel, the BB and pellet Glock that I reviewed. I think video number 2 in the series. You know, that was, yeah, it felt a little bit more like that. It was surprisingly plasticky. Oh, there we go. There's a seaplane going above us. Apologise. Yeah, the Umarex Gen 4 actually felt better. Obviously, it doesn't go bang in the same way, but overall fit and feel, you know, really didn't give anything away in terms of weight. In terms of manipulation of the controls, it was, you know, identical. Obviously, the recoil is a lot snappier on the real 9mm one. But I mean, even then, it's still, especially with a fresh capsule in there, it still gives you a decent sort of kick, and it flicks the foresight up. So you have to reacquire that target. So, you know, as a training tool, or as a you know, for us in the UK that don't get to shoot the real steel version unless we end up going abroad, you know, it's a really good halfway house. I am fantastically impressed with it, and as a result, I know I've probably already said in the video, you know, I highly recommend anybody that's interested in this pistol getting one, but I do. You know, I think it is a yeah, it's a fantastic bit of kit, and it will definitely be valued by anybody that puts it into their collection. Anyway, once again, I'm sorry for how long it took me to get this video up, or put this video up. I hope it's not going to be too much longer. Now I've got to add this bit in as well, and I hope you enjoyed it. Until the next time, stay safe, and I look forward to talking to you all soon.